times it ain't even funny. Them lies are sicker than pores, and why the truth it is sweeter than honey. And we know that he got us. He is with us, can't block us, he rock us. When them lies try to lock us, his word is my weapon, it's going but rock.
I do it for the turn up. Got that ammo locked and loaded. I ain't talking about no burn up. Flip a page, I'll explode it. Got a cabin in Manolo.
I don't do the most, but I do a lot. I'ma make a toast, cause we still alive. No big, I feel like Pac. I shoot a shot. I'm coming in hot.
To the wind, let go, we back to go in. No slowing down, we gon' win. No slowing down, we gon' win. Throw caution to the wind, let go, we back to go in. No slowing down, we gon' win. No slowing down, we know him.
Okay, I get it. What's the point of playing the game if you don't win it? I ain't never spit a sweet 16. I call that a gift, so you know I gotta bring it. Yeah, I live like minutes is infinite. If time isn't money, the white tripping and spinning. Finally found a girl that ain't in no phone all the time, so you know I had to ring it. Oh my, oh God, that ain't common, no, girl, that's impressive. I'm tryna fight for the cause, y'all wanna fight in my comment section. Dang, I don't get it, dog. Like that beat dads, I don't get involved. They said I never be nothing, but I think I still turned out awesome. I ain't into talking, I just get it done. They wanna get a job, I wanna get a gun. They wanna get a blunt and get burnt out like me in the sun. Why? I thought the answer was don't sleep now, it's insomnia. Y'all worry about when them joints drop, but you ain't worried about when your body does. Dang.
Tonight I'll risk it all to follow and live like my life's over tomorrow. We're laughing, yeah, we go hard all week till it's over, ain't no sleep, cause we getting it, getting it, getting it. We be getting it, getting it. Getting it, getting it, getting it, getting it. Getting it, getting it.
fruit. This hard to swallow, but we got the juice. We got the proof. He my big brother, so call me Young Oos. Swear that I'm telling the truth. On Jesus, the judge overrule. Dismissed like the last day of school. Conviction, my squad, we can't lose. They say I'm gone like my roof. Hit a new get with my coupe. Had to break out of the coupe. That's how you sort of a coupe. Young poly kid with the cow Lima, arm numb like it's falling out. That was back when me and Cray was on the beach, freestyling, never falling out. H-Town, so the trunk pop when the trunk knock, get the Tylenol. You can't stay and I don't sway, cup overflowing, set the party out.
Don't ask, no, you can't stay tonight. Gangsters don't dance, they just lean to the right. Cup running over, got your boy feeling right. Feeling right, yeah, I'm feeling right. Please don't ask, no, you can't stay tonight. Gangsters don't dance, they just lean to the right. Cup running over, got your boy feeling right. Feeling right, yeah, I'm feeling right.
Billy straight out the PD, ooh. Skate the Jakes like I'm TD, ooh. Out the chains, I'm Houdini, yeah. Might put Bay on my CD, wow. Ride the wave, I'm Dratini. That's absurd, I might tweet it. T.Dot call for the feature. That my friend, they like Phoebe. Swear I'm always on TV. I don't lie to my team. Still walking on speed. They got drop on my skin. And it's permanent too. I came up with my roof. We sync up with the truth. I broke up with my roof. I ain't talking no coupe. I do see Twitter news say now we 116666. I just turn off my mentions. Is that the news or is it apprentice? Get it?
Don't ask, no, you can't stay tonight. Gangsters don't dance, they just lean.
All right, let's start 11. Anybody get 11? 10, 9, 8. Ooh, we have quite a few 8s. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. If we could have leaders put up the answer, and then all the leaders check their answers to see if they, in fact. Oh, you got 9? Oh, time out. You're the only one I think that got 9. So let's check her answers first, and then we'll move on to the 8 people. All right, here we go. Yeah. All right, 9. Sorry, all you 80s. I thought we were going to get you. Come on up and grab. I think I just saw sadness that to get together. Whatever you like, but it. All right. Round 4, here we go. Dustin? Nice. Both Aldridge girls get prizes today. Come on up, Aaron, and grab a prize. job. She got 9. All right, awesome. All right, we are on the last round. Here we go. Get Any other 9s? These 2? All right. He did already get one. Let's try you out first. I don't have any problem giving you a secondary, like another pop or something if you need. Gators away? So nice. Boom. Good job, Ellie. All right. Hopefully you like Kit Kats, because that's kind of what's left. Good, good. All right, awesome. All right, y'all. We're going to put on a countdown as you guys kind of get up and go find a seat over in our area there to sit. Sorry, you got to sit far apart. That stinks, but that's how it is. All right, hey, this is my official welcome. Welcome you all to, again, our second semester kind of kickoff for United. Those of you that are your first timers, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. I think I got to at least shake your hand and say hi and meet you a little bit and introduce you to your small group leader and those kind of things. We're excited that you're here. And it's a weird year, especially for new people because we don't have all the like fun and games that we normally have to kind of get you integrated. So we just got to let the relationships do the work here this time. But hopefully you'll feel right at home here and just want to keep coming. We got a few things on the horizon. Again, I just want to remind you of kind of one more time of all of our social media stuff. So this is it. This is everything that we have: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat. And so you can please, if you have your phone, take a picture of that if you're not part of these yet. This is the best way to stay connected, to get announcements, to get
little special things that we're doing throughout the year, things that we post stuff after our sessions so that you can kind of keep following up with what we talked about on Sunday nights and that kind of stuff. So that's all good. So please, again, make sure you're following us on social media. Along with what we're doing this year, all of our series that we're talking about, and we're on YouTube. That's important because if you're ever not able to be here on large group nights, unfortunately we don't live stream our small group nights, but on our large group nights we've been trying to live stream. So even if you're not able to be here, you could still be part of it and watch it on our YouTube channel, which is Trinity Students. So that's also important. Next, following up with where I was going, all of our series have daily devotionals along with them on the Bible app. So if you have never downloaded the Bible app, please do that because it's a great resource. Number one, it's the Bible on your phone. Can you read that? It's so yellow that it's okay. Good. But if you don't have the YouVersion Bible app, please download it. It's great. And then you could do a search for It's Personal, which is the title of the series that we're beginning today, and you can follow along and do every day have a devotion that fits with kind of the theme that we're going through for the next few weeks. So it's a great resource. Along with that, today in your small groups, your leader is going to give you a sheet. It's 31 days of things to help you, again, along the journey through this series, things that can help you stay connected and grow in your relationship with Jesus throughout the next month. So you're going to get one, but it'd be a great thing for you to do to kind of, again, it's just one more tool to help you on your journey with Jesus. All right, guys, there's an event coming up February 6th for just guys, and it's called the No Regrets Men's Conference. It's going to be here in this gym from 9 o'clock in the morning till 1:30 in the afternoon. You're going to get lunch. It's free. There's nothing to pay for, but we're pushing it for our high schoolers. We really want our high school boys to go to this, and so you can register on our website. Like I said, it's free. It'd be great to bring your father along or a significant, guy that's in your life to kind of do this together. That would be really cool. But I want to put that out there because I think it's going to be great. We already have a few signed up. So if you're sitting here going, well, I don't want to be the only teenager there if it's all going to be old dudes like Jeremy, then, I get that. But it's not. There's already 2 or 3 already signed up, and we opened up registration this week. So, so we're hoping to get, a bunch of young men at this thing. So please consider that and then register on our website at tefs.org/events. It's going to be good. All right. Is there anything else on there? I think I already told you that we're starting a new series today. I think that's the only other announcement that I had. So, hey, we're going to get ready to worship. We're going to have a video that plays to kind of get us ready, prepare our hearts for the new year that we just entered into, and let's get ready to sing. So, hey, we're going to get ready to worship. We're going to...
Would you stand with us as we worship? I was buried till I met you. You called my name, and I ran out of that grave, out of the darkness into your glorious day. You called my name, and I ran out of that grave, out of the darkness into your glorious day. Now your mercy has saved my soul. Now your freedom is all that I know. The old made new. Jesus, when I met you, oh, what a day when you called my name, and I ran out of that grave, out of the darkness into your glorious day. You called my name, and I ran out of that grave, out of the darkness into your glorious day. I needed a rescue. I needed a rescue. My sin was heavy, but chains break at the weight of your glory. I needed shelter. I was an orphan. Now you call me a citizen of heaven. When I was broken, you were my healing. Now your love is the air that I'm breathing. I have a future. My eyes are open, 'cause when you call my name, I ran out of that grave, out of the darkness into your glorious day. You called my name, and I ran out of that grave, out of the darkness into your glorious day. The weapon may be formed, but it won't prosper. When the darkness falls, it won't prevail. 'Cause the God I serve knows only how to triumph. Oh, my God will never fail. No, my God will never fail. I'm gonna see a victory. I'm gonna see a victory. For the battle belongs to you, Lord. I'm gonna see a victory. I'm gonna see a victory. For the battle belongs to you, Lord. Oh. There's power in the mighty is still. The rage in me is still every way. At your name, Jesus, Jesus, you make the darkness tremble. Jesus, Jesus, you silence fear. Jesus, Jesus, you make the darkness tremble. Jesus, Jesus. Call these bones to live, call these lungs to sing once again. I will praise Jesus, Jesus. You make the darkness tremble. Jesus, Jesus. You silence fear. Jesus, Jesus. You make the darkness tremble. Jesus, Jesus. Jesus, Jesus, you make the darkness tremble. Jesus, Jesus, you silence fear. Oh, Jesus, Jesus, you make the darkness tremble. Jesus, Jesus. Your name is a light that the shadows can't deny. Your name cannot be overcome. Your name is a light forever lifted high. Your name cannot be overcome. Jesus, Jesus, you make the darkness tremble. Jesus, Jesus, you silence fear. Oh, Jesus, Jesus, you make the darkness tremble. Jesus, Jesus. Your name is the light that the shadows can't deny. Your name cannot be overcome. Your name is a light forever lifted high. Your name cannot be overcome. If you believe it, sing it out. Your name is a light that the shadows can't deny. Your name cannot be overcome. Your name is a light forever lifted high. Your name cannot be overcome. Jesus, Jesus, you make the darkness tremble. Jesus, Jesus, you silence fear. Oh, Jesus, Jesus, you make the darkness tremble. Jesus, Lord, it's in these times of craziness that it's sweet to be reminded that your name cannot be overcome, that you silence fear, Lord. I lift these students up to you this night, Lord, the ones who are here in person and watching online, and even the ones that didn't come. Lord, may you speak to them in a new way. May they learn at a young age to turn to you, that when other people fail them, when the things of this world fail them, you are constant and you remain and you do not fail us. Speak to our hearts in a new way, and may we grow deeper in love with you, Jesus. In your name we pray. Amen.
Hey, my name is Dylan, and I am a senior at Lanier High School. I'm really into FCA and cheer, and I'm gonna be sharing something personal. Okay, not that personal, just personal because, you know, I'm a person and it means something to me. What most people don't know is my last name is actually Lau. It's Chinese, while my family is mainly Filipino. My first name's a little different too, because Dylan is usually stereotyped as a boy's name. But I really like my name because it makes me feel unique and empowered, which is why it's kind of annoying whenever substitute teachers call me Dylan Leo. When someone uses my name and makes an effort to say it right, it lets me know that they actually see me and accept me for who I am. Maybe it doesn't sound like a big deal, but you can't really know me unless you know me as Dylan Lau. It's not just a name, it's personal.
All right, so I wanted to start off with an awkward moment in my life. When I was a freshman in high school, I made the JV basketball team. And for the entire season, I hung out with other guys on the team who were all older than me. I was one of 2 freshmen only that made the JV team. And so I was hanging out with these guys that were a lot older than me, which, again, as a freshman was pretty cool. So one night, I wound up at a party with a bunch of the guys from the team. And shortly into the party, this girl from another school in our district was talking to us. All right, now, to be fair, she was really talking to Robbie, who was kind of the leader of the group. He was much cooler than I was. And being the type of stand-up guy he was, Robbie turned to introduce her to everyone else in the group. So he said, hey, this is Darius, this is Kyle, this is Holden, and then this guy. And he turns to me and he goes, I'm sorry, with kind of this awkward look on his face, and he said, what's your name again? All right, now that, ouch, right? I mean, this is like the time when we need that like sad trombone music to play. That, you know what I mean? Like you need that to play. There it is, right? And then in that moment, it was my turn to respond, all right, pretty awkward. And I tried to be cool, but in that 5 seconds, it became clear to me that we were not as good of friends as I thought we were. I mean, I didn't talk much in the group because, again, I was like one of the only freshmen. But I hung out with these guys all season. I practiced with these guys. We had, bonding moments in the locker room and like team building things that our coaches were doing. And this dude didn't even know my name. All right? Now, when I was rehashing this embarrassing story for this lesson, it made me think of this clip from Parks and Rec, and so I had to show it to you.
When people get too chummy with me, I like to call them by the wrong name to let them know I don't really care about them.
That's a genius move.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Lester.
Just really quick, but it made me think of that because, maybe that was this guy's thing. He wanted to make sure I didn't think we were that close, and so he didn't know my name. But seriously, have you ever been there? Right? Like where you thought you were tight with someone and you figured out that your friendship or your relationship wasn't as deep as you thought it was. I mean, if you've ever been there, it's not a great feeling because deep down, I think we all live with the expectation that relationships should not be fake. Okay? They shouldn't be shallow. They shouldn't make you feel like you could spend a huge amount of time with someone and then be easily forgotten. None of that feels good. Regardless of whether or not you're a really social person, I think we'd all agree that when it comes to our relationships with our friends or with people we spend a lot of time with, we want real ones, don't we? We want real relationships, not fake ones. I don't want fake friends. I don't want friends who feel like they have to pretend around me. I don't want friends who don't care as much as they act like they do or who don't even really know me. Whether it's the people you hang out with, like, I don't know, whatever club you're in from band or with your teammates or with the people that you have a group chat with, we all want more than that. We want our relationships to be personal, don't we? And there's a cheat code, by the way, kind of a shortcut to figuring out if a relationship is personal, and it's kind of easy. You know how I know if somebody's not personal with me? It's when they give me a generic nickname. You know what I mean? They call me buddy, or chief, whatever. They don't call me by my name, or they say, hey, yo, guy. You know what I mean? Like something like that. You've probably experienced that kind of fakeness before. Somebody acts like they care about you, acts like they're your friend, and they keep referring to you as guy or hey, you. You know what I mean? Something other than your actual name, the one that you've literally lived with for years. Because you guessed it, it's just like my friends from the basketball team. They don't even know your name. And people knowing our names matters. We heard it in that video. It matters when people know our name. It makes us feel important. It makes us feel known. It makes us feel like there's a connection between us and the person who knows our name. Nobody wants a fake friend or a fake relationship, but you know what the opposite of fake is? Well, it's real, right? I totally agree when it comes to like things that you buy on, have you any of you ever bought anything on wish.com? Anybody? No? Nobody? Like, okay. Right? They like put up like an iMac, you know what I mean? Like they put up like an iMac Pro, that's what you think you're buying, and then you get this like cheap knockoff. Number one, it comes like 3 months later, all right? But like that kind of thing, like we want what's real. And so the opposite of fake is real. But when it comes to relationships, I think there's a better word. All right? Actually, I know that there's a better word. When it comes to people, the opposite of real is personal. Okay? Think about it. Because somebody can be real without knowing you personally. They can be cool without being close to you. They can even know something about you, like what math class you're in, they may notice stuff about you, like what brands of clothes you like to wear. But that doesn't make it, something is like just flew into my eye. Hold on one second, like I can't see anything. Ow! Good night. All right, let's see if I can if I can see what I'm writing here. But they may know those things about you, but that doesn't make it personal. All right, being personal puts somebody in a whole different category. And that's what this series is all about. I wanted to ask you if you could name everyone you think of who knows your name, how many people would be on that list? Just think about that for a second. If you could make a list of all the people that you think know your name, how many people would be on that list? And then I also wonder, if you did make that list, would you put God on it? Would you put God on that list? Because here's the thing, some of you may have grown up hearing for your whole life that God knows your name. There are a bunch of examples in the Bible about how God knows us that closely. Like when Jesus says in Luke chapter 12, he says, even the hairs of your head are all numbered. Right? That's getting pretty personal. For him to know every hair on your head. Now, while we all may think it's a little strange to know that, to know how many hairs are on our head, some of us struggle with the idea of God really knowing us. Maybe you feel like, does God really know me? Or is he more like that kind of football coach who just says, hey, buddy, for 4 years? Because he doesn't really know me. But there can be a lot of reasons why you feel that way about God. You might feel like he doesn't seem personal because you can't see him. Right? You can't see him, you can't hear him, and you can't hear him talk back when you try to pray. So you may be like, well, how does he know me? I mean, I don't hear him, I don't see him. Maybe you don't really know how much about God. Maybe you don't even care that much about God. So it feels strange to think that he'd know your name, that he would care about you because you don't really care about him very much. Maybe you've met Christians who don't seem to care about getting to know you, so why would God? You know, right? If the people that say they love God don't want to get to know me, why would God care? Why would God want to get to know me? Maybe you think he doesn't seem personal because if he's real, if he is as big as he says, if he created everything, then what makes me so important that he would know me personally, that he would know me individually? I mean, let's pretend that we all believe in a God who created everything. Again, are we to believe that a God that created this, okay, this thing that's going to be up on the screen knows my name. Okay, this is the Sombrero Galaxy. All right, and I'm not kidding, that's its real name. Some like super smart NASA scientists came up with the Sombrero Galaxy. All right, but this is I don't even know how to say this word, but a lenticular galaxy in the constellation Virgo, and it's found 31,100,000 light years from Earth. That's real far away, okay? The God that created that knows your name, knows my name. The God that created this, a butterfly nebula, knows my name. Okay, this is a planetary nebula in the constellation Scorpius. It's the most complex ever observed in planetary nebulae. The central star is one of the hottest stars known, with a surface temperature in the excess of 450,000 degrees. So again, am I to be expected to believe that the God that created something awesome like that knows me personally? And then this last one is called the Pillars of Creation. Okay, I mean, it's made of interstellar gas and dust in the Eagle Nebula. All right? Specifically the Serpens constellation. And this is about 6,500, 7,000 light years from Earth, a little closer than that other one. But the gas and the dust are in the process of creating new stars. Like new stars are being created in what you see there. Again, we're to believe that the God that's so big and powerful that he could create something like this has taken the time and energy to know that my middle name is Alan. Why would he even care? Now, while I think these are actually some real and understandable reasons, I believe that he does care. That he cares for me. He cares for you. I believe that he knows not just my name or your name, but he knows every single thing about you. And here's why I believe this. It's because fakeness is literally the opposite of how Jesus lived. You could never describe Jesus as fake with anybody. He got personal with everyone he met. He knew their names. He knew their stories. And one of those people who Jesus interacted with, it helps me believe that God is a personal God who knows our names, is a guy named Zacchaeus. Okay, if you've been in church ever, if you grew up in Sunday school, you may have sung the song. Can we do it? Do you know it? Zacchaeus was a wee little man. Are you too young to not know this song? Please, that's sad. Who knows Zacchaeus? Raise your hand. Okay, you weren't singing with me. Whatever. One of you, thanks. All right, but listen, we're going to be talking about Zacchaeus for the next few weeks. All right, so we're going to kind of get a little head start here. Zacchaeus was a tax collector. Now, that doesn't mean much to us in today's day and age, okay? But back then, tax collectors were basically considered scammers. They were traitors, because Zacchaeus was a Jewish man, but he worked for the Roman Empire, okay? This entire empire that basically bullied the Jewish people, okay? Now, that's bad enough. But then, tax collectors weren't exactly stand-up guys, okay? Because they would always collect more than they were supposed to. They would collect more than what was really due, and they would pocket the rest. So a tax collector was like a guy who steals money that you're collecting for like a school fundraiser so that he could go, I don't know, buy energy drinks or something stupid. You know what I mean? Like, that's what these guys were. And this guy was the chief. He was the chief tax collector, okay? So this guy was like the worst of the worst. So at this point now in Jesus' life, he'd gone from being this casual carpenter, okay, this guy that was a carpenter's son, to now he's kind of a big deal. He's known for all these miracles that he was performing, and these powerful messages that he was preaching. And at this point, basically every single place he went, crowds would follow him everywhere. And they would gather to get a glimpse of this Rabbi Jesus who was healing all these people and saying all these powerful things, okay? And so that's what's happened as he's passing through the town of Jericho on his way to Jerusalem. He meets this guy named Zacchaeus. And here's how the interaction is recorded by Luke. Okay, Luke was a guy who interviewed real people who witnessed Jesus' life and ministry, and then he wrote the Gospel of Luke, and he also wrote the book of Acts. But here's what he writes in Luke chapter 19. And when Jesus came to that place, he looked up, and he said to him, Zacchaeus, hurry and come down, for I must stay at your house today. So he hurried, and he came down, and he received him joyfully. Now, I want to break this down a little bit, okay? Out of this giant crowd that is following Jesus to Jerusalem, and the giant crowd of people that are just trying to get a peek of him. They're just trying to get a peek of Jesus as he's passing by. Jesus stops, and he has this conversation with Zacchaeus, maybe the most hated man in the whole town. All right, now this is a huge deal, okay? Getting this kind of attention from Jesus is crazier than like if your favorite celebrity randomly started following your Instagram page and commenting on all your pictures. You know what I'm saying? Like this is a bigger deal than that, because not only did Jesus call out the guy who was watching from the tree, all right, he climbed up in a tree to see him, but did you notice that Jesus calls him by name? He didn't say, hey, big guy, or we know the song, Zacchaeus was a wee little man. So, hey, small thing. You know, he didn't like say that. He said Zacchaeus. He called him by name. And then, not only does Jesus call him by name, but he invites himself over to Zacchaeus' house. Now, everyone else knows how much of an honor this is. All right? So let's see how they respond. Verse 7. And when they saw it, they being the crowds, they all grumbled. He is gone in to be the guest of a man who is a sinner. All right? Now, maybe we don't grumble. We just get mad, right? We become haters. All right? And this was a guy they didn't like. Maybe nobody liked this guy. Maybe nobody would have wanted to see Jesus hanging out with this guy. But Jesus goes straight towards him. Straight towards this guy that everybody hated. Okay? Now, why does this matter? Why should we care about this? Well, the big reason is because this isn't just a story about Zacchaeus at all. It's about Jesus. And it's about how he treats people. That he paid attention to the guy on the sidelines, the guy who annoyed everyone else, the guy nobody was noticing, the guy I bet nobody cared to try to learn his name. Nobody wanted to be associated with Zacchaeus. But this was the guy that Jesus made sure to know, to use his name. And again, by the way, he does the same for you. I want you to know that Jesus knows your name as well. This is how God sees us, okay? Yes, he is the God that created the whole universe, all those awesome things I just showed you. Yes, he is a God who has always been around for eternity. I mean, again, something that our brains cannot even comprehend. We don't understand the concept of eternity, that there is this being that had no beginning, that he's just been around forever. We don't get that, and yet he knows you personally. Listen to what happens to Zacchaeus when he encounters this Jesus who knows his name. This is a few verses later. Zacchaeus stood and said to the Lord, "Behold, Lord, the half of my goods I give to the poor. And if I've defrauded anyone, if I cheated anyone out of anything, I restore it fourfold." And Jesus said to him, "Today salvation has come to this house, since he also is the son of Abraham." And listen to this, because this is amazing. "For the Son of Man came to seek and save the lost." That's Jesus' whole mission statement. It's why he came, to seek and save the lost. You know who that is? It's you and I. It's every human being who has ever lived and will ever live and was living at this time. All of us, lost, sinful, broken people. That's why Jesus came. Not to only hang out with religious people. Read the Gospels. You know the only people he ever got really mad at were the religious people. He hung out with tax collectors and prostitutes and sinners all the time because that's why he came. The people that were willing to say, I am a sinner. A lot of times those religious people, the reason Jesus had beef with them was because they never wanted to admit that they needed him. They were like, I'm good. I go to church all the time. I know the Bible backwards and forwards. I don't need you. I can figure this out on my own. I'm good. And Jesus was like, man, you're like extra lost because like you don't even know that you need me. And these people, like the tax collector like Zacchaeus and these prostitutes, they were like coming to Jesus in droves because they knew they needed him. They knew their life was a wreck. And so they come. All right, now listen, I know that all of this might feel a little ridiculous to you. Maybe the whole idea of faith feels a little crazy, a little far-fetched. And again, if that's where you're at, that is okay, okay? Like Zacchaeus, I want to challenge you right now. If that's where you are, if you're here, I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're here listening to this. But if you're kind of still going, I don't know about this faith thing. I don't know about this Jesus thing. You're kind of losing me. It's kind of goofy. Listen, I just want to challenge you first. Okay? Like Zacchaeus, the best thing for some of us to do this week is to find a way to see for ourselves what Jesus is like. Zacchaeus, listen, when he was climbing up in that tree to see Jesus, he had no intention of totally changing his life. Understand that? He just wanted to see him. He just wanted to get a glimpse of his Jesus, and he was a short little wee little man, like the song says, and so he had to climb up a tree because he wasn't going to be able to see him. So he climbs up in this tree to get a glimpse of Jesus. And then he encounters him, and it transforms everything about him. Everything about him. But some of us might need to just climb that tree, so to speak, to just get to know Jesus a little bit. Take that first step towards seeing Jesus for himself. Let him show you who he is. All right? Because no matter what you think about God, what you think about faith, what you think about us Christians, I want you to know this. It's personal because Jesus knows your name. Whether you give him the time of day right now or not is irrelevant. He knows you. And he died on the cross for you. Okay? Now, for some people, that doesn't always sit well. You might have questions about that. You might have doubts about that. And again, that is also okay. But what would it look like for you to hop up in that tree to get a better look? To rethink or reimagine what God is like? To start asking some of those questions. Maybe some questions like this. What is God like really? I mean, be honest. I mean, you may be a person that's been in church your whole life and you can talk about God because you've learned about him, but what is God like really? Because sometimes I think we get a very yucky misperception of who God is. All right? And all you have to do is like watch what happened in our country this week. You want to hear something disgusting that I heard this week? Somebody tweeted this out. The person who tweeted this was a former candidate for the House of Representatives from Indiana. He was like in the Indianapolis area, so whatever district that is. He was a former candidate for the House of Representatives, and he was a former youth pastor. And when the riots were happening in Washington, D.C. the other day, and there were armed guards having to like stop people from breaking into the Capitol, he tweeted out, God wanted this to happen, and God sent the rioters to do this, okay? Now, if you're listening to that, then you get that idea that that's what God is. God's this like Republican, this Republican angry God who's like always out to just do things like that. You know what I mean? And if that's your perception of God, I mean, I just want to say right now, it's wrong. That is not the God of the Bible. It breaks my heart that this dude tweeted that. It breaks my heart that I'm sure in that riot, those people that were doing that were Sunday school teachers and deacons of their church and elders of their churches and things like that. I'm sure that there were people like that in that group thinking they were doing God's work, and that breaks my heart. But you need to maybe ask the question, what is God like really? Who is God really? Or a question like this, what does God say about me? Because you may think you are human waste. Maybe that's what you're told all the time. Maybe you've heard that time and time again. Maybe from the people that are supposed to love you the most, you've heard things and you have felt unwanted. And so now you have this guy up here telling you that Jesus knows you by name. He loves you. He knows you. He died for you. And you're going, well, that doesn't make any sense to me. My mom and dad don't love me. What? How can, you know what I mean? And so you need to know, what does God say about me? And that might be the question you need answered this week. Or how about this one? What does God say about the people around me? Right? Because every one of us in here, if I asked you, is there anybody that you don't like? You'd all raise your hand, because there's always somebody we don't like. There's always somebody that rubs us the wrong way, that ticks us off, that annoys us, that bothers, you know what I mean? What does God say about that person? Basically, Jesus changed the way everybody thought about God. There's just something that happens when we recognize that this God of the universe is a personal God. And I'm telling you, it transforms Zacchaeus, and it's already changed the lives of so many others. And it doesn't stop there. We've talked about how powerful it is to be known personally by God, that He knows your name, He knows you, He cares about you, He died for you. He went to the cross for you by name. And when you think about that, it's insane. It's insane that as He was hanging on the cross, going through the most physical pain humanly possible at the time. But again, you've heard me say this over and over again, that wasn't the worst part of the crucifixion. That was crappy, but the worst part was that in that moment, as He was having all of the guilt of all of the sin of all humanity from past, present, and future thrust on Him, and He needed His Father in that moment, God turned His back on Him. That relational pain of being like ignored by the God the Father that you've been with for eternity in the most perfect love imaginable is now not there in your most dire time where you need Him the most. And as He's hanging on the cross, where every single one of us in this room, if that was happening to us, would only think about who? Right? If I'm going through that, guess who I'm thinking about? Me. I'm thinking about myself, and this stinks, and I wish I could get down, and these people stink, and I wish they would stop, and all that. He's thinking about literally you by name on the cross. That's insane. But if that's true for you, and it is, then that's also true for the person next to you. It's true for your siblings. It's true for your parents. It's true for that kid at school that you avoid, or that teacher that you can't stand. Okay? Here's what I'm getting at. A relationship with Jesus is always personal. It's personal for you and for me. So let me ask, how can we make it personal for others as well? For your piano teacher, all right? Your basketball or soccer or lacrosse coach, the person that you know in science class, the girl who somehow always ends up in your group project group. You know what I'm saying? The guy who gets on your nerves. Your best friend's little brother who's super annoying. The guy who maybe forgot your name. You know what I mean? That one time. Guess what? They all matter. They all matter just like you. And here's why that's a big deal. Because the people around you may not know that God cares about them personally until you care about them personally. So the best way to do this may start with some of the easiest steps you've ever heard from me. Here's one. Learn their names. Simple enough, right? And I'm telling you, this is hard for me. This is a guy who's known for doing the, what's up, buddy? I'm great at that. I'm good at the, hey, you? Like, I'm awesome at that. I'm the guy that, like, when I'm introducing someone, like, to my wife, I don't know how to do it because I feel awkward. So I'm always like, this is Stacy, hoping that they take the bait and go, yeah, I'm so-and-so, because I don't know their name. I've seen them 1,000 times, and I have no clue what their name is. Okay, I'm terrible at that. So again, this is important for me to understand and learn how to do this as well. But learn people's names. How about this one? Learn the right way to pronounce their names. Here's something you should know. If your name is like John, then you may not have ever experienced something like what I'm about to tell you. And this is a bigger deal than you may think. You heard it in that video at the very beginning. You know how annoying it is when someone writes your name wrong on a Starbucks cup? Because they don't know how to, you say Jeremy and they write Jerry, or they write Jeremy. That's my favorite. Jermy, Jeremy. I get that all the time. But it's not my first name that's really the problem. It's my last name. How you like this apple? I'm getting introduced on graduation day by the principal of our high school to give the valedictorian address. And they say, welcome to the stage, our valedictorian, Jeremy Bobos. All right, I've been at the school 4 years. You know what I mean? I'm involved in a whole bunch of stuff. And the principal of the school doesn't know how to say my name. Those kind of things, they hurt. So not only learn their names, but learn how to say them right. That means a lot to people. All right? And then third, use their names when you see them. Try real hard to call people by name. Hey, Karsten, instead of just, hey, bud. You know what I mean? Try to use their name. Now, I get it. This seems so basic, but that's why it's a big deal. Because knowing someone's name is the absolute simplest thing that we can do to communicate that someone matters. And if someone feels like they don't matter, that also has a huge impact on them. So an easy way to do this is with people younger than you. Think about a couple years ago. What if you had some upperclassmen who genuinely took an interest in you and your life? How would that have made you feel? So I'm asking you, do that for someone. Upperclassmen in the room right now, do that for some freshmen or sophomores. Freshmen and sophomores, find some middle schoolers who you can invest in, or at least begin to call by name. Again, don't just congregate with the people you know. Again, I know that this is weird, and this is not on my script, but I feel like COVID has destroyed our ability to know how to talk to people again, in person, because we're super zoomed out. Everything's online. We got that stuff done, but when we're together with human beings in person, flesh and blood, we're who are you? What do you do? How do I talk to you? We don't know how to do that anymore. So again, I know that's not super easy to do. When you come here, it's easy to congregate with the people that you know. But invest in somebody else. Let someone else know that you know their name, all right? Try to give that a go, all right? We have a personal God. He also happens to be a personal God who is also mind-blowingly powerful. He's ridiculously creative, and he is overly gracious. And yet he still knows you by name, and he calls you by it. And one of the greatest ways that we can point people to this kind of personal God is by modeling what it looks like to be personal with others. That's why we have small groups that you're going to go to for 3 minutes, because I've gone so long today. All right? But we do small groups on purpose. So because we believe that every person here is loved and known personally by Jesus. And because of that, we want you to always have a group of people who know you personally, who know your name, who know your story, who you feel comfortable enough with to share prayer requests with and share struggles that you're going through or tough times that you're going through. I really want this to be a place that no one should come in this door and feel like they don't fit in, that nobody knows them. Jesus always made it personal with the people around him, and you can too, by simply knowing their names. Let's pray. Father, man, I thank you so much for who you are, for being a person who is never fake, ever. And in the midst of the worst possible thing you could ever go through, when you had every right to be selfish in that moment and think of yourself, and you were powerful enough in that moment to bring down just a squadron of angels to come and wipe out the people that were doing that to you and rescue you. You stayed hanging on the cross thinking about us. Father, I pray that anybody who doesn't know that, doesn't know you personally, doesn't know that that's how loved they are, that right now, in this moment, they would turn to you. and they would put their faith in you as their Savior and their Lord. That they would begin that relationship with you that doesn't ever change, because you're never going to stab them in the back. You're never going to turn your back on them. You're never going. You allowed yourself to have God turn his back on you so that we would never experience that ourselves. Father, I pray for anybody that doesn't know you right now, that right now would be that moment where they come to know you. And Lord, for everybody else that does have a relationship with you, I pray, Father, that they would truly come to know you more. That they would, any kind of lies or any kind of misconceptions about who you are would be, they would ask those questions, and they would look in the Word to see who you really are. And then, Father, that we would be people who get to know people by name. That we would be people that love people, and because we love them, we're showing them that you love them. Hopefully opening that door to be able to share the love that you have for them with them. And so, Lord, now in this few moments that we have to run up to our small groups and talk about this, Lord, I pray that it would be a sweet time of just, again, kind of taking this and bringing it down and applying it to our lives right now. We love you and we thank you. In Jesus' name we pray. All God's people said, amen. All right, you run to your small group. Don't dilly-dally. If you're a sophomore female, you are going with Katie today over yonder. Raise your hand, Katie, if they don't know you. But sophomore ladies, go with her. Everybody else, follow your group.